Welcome back everybody to another video. PKBAG here. Hope everybody had a good holiday season, holiday break. We celebrated Christmas. It was nice. And then I got sick, so now I'm feeling better, but I haven't posted anything in a while, so here we go. This video we're going to look at 2023 Paddles of the Year Review Awards from John Kew. He has two excellent videos. He's got 6 different categories and 3 paddles in each. He talks about his selection for 2023 Paddles of the Year. We're going to use his. We're going to see where they fall on a ranking I did using Chris Olson's database. So here's how I did my ranking. I took 4 categories: spin, swing weight, twist weight, and price. And I ranked them amongst 190 paddles. The lowest scores gave the highest rankings. So for instance, this was the lowest score paddle. It had a score of 82. Everything else went up from there. And Chris did an excellent job, obviously, through the whole year, keeping up his database. Unfortunately, there were 21 paddles that had 1 or more datum missing. If you don't know, by the way, datum is singular for data. Data is plural, and one piece of data is called a datum. Now, if you want to talk about paddle nerd of the year and you use the word datum, go for it. But I definitely think that's nerdy, but it's also interesting too. Anyway. So I couldn't use these 21 paddles if they had something missing. So if they didn't have a twist weight score, it's going to screw up their total score, and there's going to be some bias there. So I wasn't able to use that, but we were able to get most of them in. Anyway, let's get started with what John has for power. He's got 3 models here: the Ghost, the Model E Elite, and the Gearbox. And the rank score I will give you, I won't give you the actual ranking like first, second, third, but I'll give you the rank scores based on their 4 categories that I mentioned in the previous slide. 159, 130. Okay. So what this means is these were the total of 4 categories. Now I didn't use power and pop because that wasn't in Chris's database. And if I were to use power and pop like what John does in his database, these scores would probably be lower, which means they would rank higher overall. Also, these scores mean something like this. If you're in the top 10 of Chris's, based on my ranking work, top 10 would be under 100. So these scores would be less than 100. Top 30 made it under 120. So we're going to see that when it comes to, say, like these control ones, we've got the Prism Flash, the Colin Johns, and the Lux. They had much lower scores because other features they had provided higher rankings. 116 and 108. The all-court models, John chose, these are ones we've seen all year, the Nova, the 6-0 double black diamond, which was the #1 paddle in Chris Olson's Paddles of the Year award. Proline Energy S, one of John's favorites, came in a little high, but the 6-0 came in at 100. I'm not sure why these other 2 came in so high. Must have had some other features that just sort of brought their scores up. This obviously does not include what you feel about the paddle because you hit with it. This is just clearly objective, and John's selections are based on lots of experience, lots of play time, hitting all of these paddles, taking notes. They all do really good work judging and finding out the paddles that they like the best, so on and so forth. We've got more to go here. Spin, I did a little different. John chose these 3 here, the Zane, the Diadem, and the Forza, as the top spin models. And here we see where there was an anomaly with Chris's data. So in Chris's database, The Zane model came in high because Chris measured the spin at only 1688 RPMs. John's RPMs came in much higher, and Chris actually describes in one of his videos, sometimes this happens. His numbers come in much lower than other reviewers' RPMs. Not sure why. It's kind of like the batch that he ends up getting from the manufacturer. Maybe it's a measurement error. I doubt it. But so anyway, occasionally you get that. The Diadem came in first for both of them, very high, and the Forza came in 8th. In Chris's database, under my ranking, the top spin are as follows: the Diadem, the Carbon 1, and the 006. So a couple more options there based on what's on Chris's side versus what you see here that John shows. Under lightweight category, John shows the Movin', the Infinity, the Electrum Stealth. The only way I could really look at this would be to look at swing weight on Chris's side. Swing weight 7th for the Movin', 22nd for the Infinity, which seems high, but the swing weight's only 110. So that's still pretty good. The Electrum Stealth came in 3rd, but there wasn't any measurement for the Stealth on Chris's side. He didn't have that in his database. But based on the number that John provided for swing weight on the Stealth, it would actually show up like 4th place. So right where that arrow were to go. So Chris had 3 models that came in very, very light for swing weight. The other 2 you don't see here that are in this Chris database include the Prokenix and the Gearbox CX. Budget models: Hudef Viva Pro Gen 2, Fire and Ice Speed Up, which is a new brand for me. Very interesting. I was able to take a look at their website. And the Vatic Prism Flash. Rank-wise, 10th for the Gen 2. I mentioned a code. I'm an affiliate of Hudef, and I have a discount code. Link in the description as well if you're interested in anything they provide. Discount code is Andrew15. The Gen 2 comes in at $129 before the discount. I've hit this paddle. It's excellent. It's thermoformed unibody, and they did a pretty good job there. And then for the other 2, they came in 8th. 22 models came in tied at 8th, which means I think they were all $100. So very hard to choose which one. A lot of paddles came in under the budget categories. 43 models landed between $65 and $130. That's a lot to choose from. Prices have come down, or models have come out that were a lot less expensive this year, which gives the budget player lots of options. And we're here to sort things out to try to find the best models for you, depending on what you're looking for. So, in Chris's database, you might want to know, well, which were the top overall rankings? So this doesn't have anything to do with John's selections anymore. This is based on the ranking that I did in Chris's. At the top, with 82 points, came in the newer Paddletech Annalee Waters. Had very good stats. Low swing weight, high twist weight, and high spin. 85 points coming in second, the Engage Pursuit Pro. Very high twist weight, high spin. And then there were 3 tied for third. The Annalee Waters 14mm, the Vatic, and the Mach 2 Forza. Again, very high and even stats for a lot of these paddles. The Vatic even pretty decent price there. So we've got some other paddles that have very good stats overall, depending on what you're looking for, that we did not see in John's selections. And that's okay. We do have some honorable mentions as well. In Chris's database, 6th overall came the Bison Rampage. Decent price, pretty even stats. 8th is the Adidas Drive 2, which Chris has mentioned before as a very good value, sort of like a starter paddle if you're tight on budget. $70, high stat there. 10th overall, the Pickle Vantage Pro, another new company for me to look at. Very interesting. They got some good stuff, and they come in at $139, which is good. Other stats ran good despite the slightly heavier weight of 8.3 ounces. So solid paddle, and something to look at, to consider as well. Lots to choose from. Other notes from my findings include the following. The database didn't include pop or power, and of course that would probably change where some of the power-based paddles fall in the ranking. Might be able to include that down the road. If I had more complete data, maybe some other paddles would have been thrown in there. There were tons of great paddles that were not considered because of incomplete data. And honestly, you take these 20 or 30 paddles we just mentioned, stick them in a box, close your eyes and grab one. If you've got a good skill set, if you can hit a good shot, whatever paddle you grab, you're probably going to do pretty well with. So all these paddles came in pretty good overall, and there's not a lot of bad paddles out there, as been mentioned by Chris before. So one thing I have to do is update my database coming up. We've got some time, slower times here in January. John now has 100 in his database. I was using his database when it had 75 to 80, so I have to update his. I'm sure Chris has some that I need to update on his as well. We've got more work to do coming up. We're definitely going to look at another video for Paddle of the Year and see where we can go from there. And overall, I just want you guys to have an awesome 2024. If you like what I'm doing, please share it with someone you know. Subscribe. I'd like to hear some comments. Click the like button, all that good stuff on YouTube. I want you to have an awesome 2024. We've got a lot of great pickleball coming up this year. And next time you play, tell someone they made a nice shot. See you later.